Hello everyone, welcome back. And Barcelona beats Athletic Bilbao 2-1 in this game, and I was so impressed with the way that Barcelona bounced back after that penalty in the first half. And to be able to get a win in this game, I think they played great. Not only that, but they're also missing so many players to get 3 points against a very difficult opponent in La Liga. When you're coming back from preseason, Hansi Flick's first couple games in charge, I've just been so impressed with Hansi Flick. The way that he set the team up, the way that the players have performed, and of course, with 2 wins out of 2, I could not have asked for anything more to begin the season in La Liga for Barcelona. And the elements that we were excited for Hansi Flick to bring into the team, the physicality, the intensity, the high press that he brings, I'm so happy about that, all of that. And I really think Barcelona, they've looked a lot different than they did last season. I know it's just the first couple games, so is that the tale of how the story is going to go this season for Barcelona? We don't know. But all we can say so far is that we're very impressed with the way that they played. At least myself, I can say that, because I know they definitely could have maybe scored a couple more goals, but you like when your team is creating chances. You like when the team is exciting, is enjoyable to watch. And even in the first half, when I think Athletic Bilbao, they made it difficult for Barcelona to break down their defense, I still think they were having productive passes. They were going forward. They had 70% possession in the first half, and sometimes Barcelona under Xavi, they would have a decent amount of possession, but it wouldn't really get you anywhere. But I think Hansi Flick, that 70% possession, it seemed like it was for a purpose. He was always pushing forward. His team knew exactly what to do. And I think Marc Bernal and Pedri in that double pivot, that worked so well. It was so great to watch. And he also, again today, boldly, he started with 4 attackers. I loved that. It was Rafinha in the middle, Ferran Torres on the left, Lamine Yamal on the right, and Lewandowski up top. I think it worked great. And Hansi Flick, the way that he set the team up, his starting lineup that he put out today, and of course also the substitutes that he brought on. Like I said, could not have asked much more from him in the first couple games of La Liga this season. And I think sometimes Barcelona in this game, they looked a little bit too narrow given the fact that they don't have a true left winger. I think that's one problem maybe that they had, where they just didn't have a true left winger. Ferran Torres was on the left. He always wanted to invert and to combine with his teammates, which I think sometimes that did work out. Some attacking patterns that they had were very good. They were playing 1-2, combining very well, and they just weren't able to get that final touch to put them in on goal or just make the right pass. Maybe it just took a little bit too long. But I think that's maybe due to not being completely 100% sharp given the fact that they just came back from preseason. But overall, I was impressed. I think that left winger, I still think Barcelona, if they don't sign a direct left wing attacker there, maybe they would face some difficulties or something similar today where they just looked a little bit too narrow at times. But maybe Pau Victor could come there. Maybe Dani Olmo could play there. But I also think both of those players aren't true touchline wingers. They're going to want to invert and combine with their teammates. So that's understandable. I mean, Nico Williams, wanted to talk about that as well because, of course, that was Barca's number 1 target. It didn't work out. He's staying at Athletic Bilbao. And in this game, I do think he had a couple good moments, but Koundé defended against him very well, just like he did in the Euros with France versus Spain. That was, I think, Nico Williams' worst performance in that tournament because of how well Koundé did. And sometimes, of course, with a player of Nico Williams' quality, he did get the best out of him. And sometimes, it's just, I think Nico Williams and Athletic Bilbao overall as a team, that's never going to be an easy game. That's never going to be a game where you just don't feel the pressure at any part in the game. It's always going to be difficult to get 3 points against Bilbao. And Barcelona, they were able to do that. That's the most important thing for me because even if the performances weren't exactly there at the beginning, it's so important to get some much needed wins just to start the season well, just to have your confidence high, and especially given the fact that you're still missing a large amount of your core of Barcelona currently. I mean, it's such a good result. It's such a positive performance as well on top of that. And yeah, Nico Williams, he was also getting booed and whistled when he touched the ball, which I don't really think he did anything wrong this summer. I just think Laporta and Barcelona, they weren't really able to give him the guarantees, and I just think maybe he just didn't think it was the right time for him to leave Bilbao. I don't think he really did anything, but I think Barca fans, everything they were kind of promised in this season, they thought for sure Nico Williams was joining Barcelona. I was always a bit skeptical because just that Basque loyalty, and I think he did never really hint that he was excited to leave Bilbao. I think he was very comfortable there, so I wasn't completely convinced that Barca were going to be able to sign him this summer. But yeah, I think there were a lot of storylines in this game, and I was just so happy with the result because Hansi Flick, I love the way that he set this team up. I love the way that they're playing currently. I think the 2 games that they've had in La Liga, they've just been so fun and enjoyable to watch. And like I said, it's just the first couple games. Maybe you can't say this is exactly how the season's going to go, but I just think the energy at the team and the energy at the club with Hansi Flick in charge, it's completely changed. And I hope Barcelona can keep that momentum going into this season because I think they've started off the season more than a lot of people expected. I think they've been so good. Really 2 perfect games for me so far. And now I just wanted to take a second to talk about some players individually that I think deserve a lot of praise for this performance. And the first, in my opinion, being Pedri. I think he was so class. In that second half, he completely took over the game. I think there were so many instances where almost no other midfielder in the world would have been able to get out of the situation that he was in. It was 2v1, defenders right on his back. He still found a way to turn or make the right pass out of pressure. His touches, everything was so good. And I know some Barca fans, maybe even 1% of the Barca fan base around the world, say Barca should cash in on Pedri. He's just not good enough. Or he's just injury prone and he's just not able to play the amount of games. But you see that talent. You cannot let go of that. At all costs, you cannot let go of Pedri because he's just so class on his day. He's incredible. And if Barca can get a healthy season out of him, in my opinion, I'll stay by my statement that there's no one else in that position I would rather have than Pedri in the world to fit in at Barcelona. He was just so class today. And his partner as well, Marc Bernal. I mean, I stood up and applauded when he was taken off because he's that class. And he got an ovation as he left Barcelona because he was just so good for that 80 minutes that he played. He was so composed on the ball. He knew exactly where he was supposed to be, what he was supposed to be doing with the ball. Rarely turned the ball over. Perfect passes, perfect touches. Everything you could have asked for as a defensive midfielder for Barcelona in that double pivot. He was so good. And I think some Barca fans, they do talk about this left-footed Busquets comparison. I don't want to get that far. I think he is so good. And to be reliant on a 17-year-old to start this season after the injury problems to your other midfielders, to Gundogan leaving, Marc Bernal can be very important for Barcelona this season. And I don't want to just say these first couple games because we have heard about Marc Bernal for a very long time. And to have this big of an impact right away, I'm just so impressed with him. And Pedri and Marc Bernal, I know some people maybe like Pedri as the number 10. I understand that as well, but I think as an 8 as well, he's just so good. And that midfield, Pedri and Marc Bernal, so class. I could not have asked for much more from them today. Fermin Lopez, it was also nice for him to come on. Just the midfield was great today. And another player that I wanted to give a lot of praise to in these first two games is Robert Lewandowski because I think this is what you want from him. And I'll be honest, I was a very heavy critic, and I thought, honestly, realistically, Barcelona should try and offload him because he has such a high salary, and he's 36 years old. But I think this season, if you play towards his strengths, if you have other attackers that can maybe take the attention off the defenders and give Lewandowski that freedom to move around the box, and he's able to be a presence in that area, I think you can get the best out of him, and he can have a good goal-scoring season because sometimes he did complain about Xavi just playing with four midfielders, and it was just him and Lamine Yamal up top. I just think Lewandowski in the build-up play was not good enough. I think he did look slow and sluggish and was making the wrong decisions at times, but I think he looks very sharp now. And like I said, it's just two games, but I want to talk about the positives of these two games. And I think Lewandowski, he's been one of the standout performers for me because I think his build-up play, sometimes he can hit or miss there. Sometimes his touches are off. Maybe, he's a little bit selfish in front of goal. But I think you also do want that from a number 9 when he has the belief in himself to score every single time he's in on goal. Because there was one time, could have definitely cut it back to Ferran Torres, but he took a shot, it hit the post. Another day, that would have went in, so I'm not really against him not passing to his teammate there. I think Lewandowski, this game, had a great performance. Not just the goal. He definitely could have had maybe one or two more of those because he did get a lot of chances in this game, but it's about being in the right areas. And in my opinion, if you miss a lot of chances, yes, you would expect someone like Lewandowski maybe to put those away, especially the header that he hit off the post. You expect someone of his quality to probably put those away. But my most important thing is just the attackers getting him the ball in those areas and making him useful because I think some games he was a passenger, but so far in these first two games of the season, he's really imposed himself on the defense and he's been a lot to handle and you just can't give him any space in the box. So I've really liked to see him return to kind of what we saw in the first couple months that he joined Barcelona, which like I said, it's just the first couple games. I really hope that he can maintain that form, but hats off to Lewandowski because I have been a pretty heavy critic of his, so I'm just very happy to see him start the season so well. And another player that I wanted to talk about was Pau Cubarsí because some Barca fans are maybe being a little bit reactionary saying that maybe he shouldn't be starting in these games. First off, with Christensen being injured and Araujo also being injured, Linglet just got sent out on loan, and Cubarsí and Inigo Martinez, those are the two best options at the club currently. And I think that penalty, it's very unfortunate because I just want to say, first off, everyone on this field was slipping the entire game, especially the first half. I'm not sure if they overwatered the field. I don't know how you could really get that wrong, but something did not seem right because every single time someone tried to change directions quickly, they just slipped. And Balde, the ball was coming behind him. It seemed like he could have just gotten away and gotten that cleared, but he slipped on the grass. And then Cubarsí, he had to try and make a last-ditch tackle. He didn't get it right, and I forgot the name of the Bilbao player, but his foot was just underneath Cubarsí when he landed. It was a penalty. It was unfortunate. And Cubarsí, maybe in the first half, just some passes didn't look completely convinced or assured of his... I don't know. Maybe he just looked a little bit off today. I'll be honest. But I think in that second half, he grew into the game. I think that yellow card is maybe a little bit... I was a little bit worried at first that he was possibly going to be sent off. But I think Cubarsí, he grew into that game. And just his passing and his distribution is so good. And I also think we have to remember that he is 17 years old. You have to take the good with the bad there because that's just a lack of experience in some parts of the game that maybe he wouldn't give. I don't think he would give that penalty away with a couple more years of experience. So I just think we have to work with that, because if you're going to rely on 3 17-year-olds in the starting lineup, you have to be willing to accept the fact that they're going to make mistakes. That's all part of their growth and their progression as players. So QBRC, I'm completely fine with him, giving up an unfortunate penalty. I think he grew into the game, and he did well after that. So, Hansi Flick, he started this game yet again with 3 17-year-olds in their second game of La Liga, and I think Marc Bernal especially was so good. Lamine Yamal, what a goal. I know it did take a little bit of deflection, but what a goal, what a performance from him as well, because Lamine Yamal, I don't even really highlight his performances, which maybe I should, but he's so good. I just don't even want to, we all know how good he is, so I don't really even want to talk too much about it, because he's just so good. He's so fun and enjoyable to watch. I'm so glad that he's at Barcelona, and I hope he has a big season ahead of him. But overall, yeah, I liked the performances from some individuals in this game. Just very happy, again, with the performance and the way that the players performed. And I also wanted to talk about something off the field, which a lot of Barca fans were talking about, especially before the game started, was that Dani Olmo was not registered for this game. He was completely fit to play. Hansi Flick said that, he counted on him and that he did have a plan in case that Dani Olmo was able to be registered, but it wasn't to be. I really hope that Dani Olmo will be registered by the next game, because the people on ESPN were basically saying if he's not registered before the season starts, then he leaves as a free agent and Barca owes him a year's worth of salary. You have to hope that that's not true. I want to say there's almost no chance that happens, because why would Laporta sign him if it wasn't a basic guarantee that he was going to be at least available at some point to start the season, right? If he misses the first couple games, obviously you would want him available, but still Barca, like they proved today and in their last game, they're able to make it work and still get results, even if they're missing their newest signing. So I know a lot of Barca fans, they said it was such an embarrassing moment because they got rid of Gundogan. Gundogan was already playing for Man City today, while Barca could not register the player that they kind of spent all their money on this summer. Look, it's not the best moment, but Barca, financially, they're not in the best situation. I think Laporta, he's done well. I mean, he's done well to get the club back to hopefully a better financial situation. I think there's a lot of talk about Laporta and Deco right now. Look, I think as you continue to read things, it's just going to build up. It's just going to continue to snowball, and you just think, oh, there's so much negative stuff around the club. I would suggest let's try and be positive, because I know Laporta, he was not given a very easy situation, because we all knew what was going on with Bartomeu. He completely destroyed Barcelona. He almost bankrupted the club. And, I mean, I think if you would have, let's say Bartomeu left and another Bartomeu would have been the next president, I think Barca would be mid-table right now. It's possible that they could have completely, well, I don't know. I don't want to say that, because I think La Masia could continue to be there and progress and help the club out. But I just think if there was another Bartomeu in charge, I think it could be so bad for Barcelona currently. So Laporta, we have to give him credit, because he trusted Hansi Flick. It seems like hopefully he's able to continue to do well, but I've really liked what I've seen so far. He's gotten that La Masia connection back to the club, and I think he's made relatively smart signings. There's been some that have definitely been hit or miss, and it's completely fair and justified to ask questions, to bring up question marks around Laporta and Deco, specifically Deco. But Laporta, I think we should not forget, because some people are saying he's another Bartomeu. We went through that Bartomeu stage, and we knew the entire time how bad the club was going down and how much this was going to hurt Barcelona long term. I don't have those same feelings with Laporta. I think he's trying his best. I think he does have the club in his best interest, I think. So I'm okay with that. The Dani Olmo thing, it was disappointing for him not to play, but Barca, they still got the result. They still have the quality to not rely on Dani Olmo, and you don't want to rush him in anyways. So he's gotten more practice. He's got more training sessions with the club, and I think he's going to be very well. I think he's going to do very well under Hansi Flick. So I'm very excited. I think Barca's game, I don't want to be wrong. I think they do have another game coming up in the next couple days, midweek, against Real Valladolid. That's my guess. Definitely could be wrong about that. But so I hope Dani Olmo is able to be registered. I'd be surprised, honestly, if he wasn't. So let's just relax a little bit. I think Vitor Roque, he is basically confirmed to be going on loan to Betis. Linglet's also leaving on loan. Gundogan's leaving. So I think they're doing enough financially to make sure that Dani Olmo can be registered and he's available for Barcelona next game. And as I said, I'm just so happy with the performance and as well as the 3 points, because especially with your key players missing in the first couple games, sometimes you're just going to have to grind out results, and that's what Barca have been able to do in both of their games so far this season. So I'm really excited with the way that Hansi Flick is using this team and utilizing the players that he has at his disposal. Even with missing some key players, he's still putting out good performances, and I still think there's an identity there. It's just the beginning couple games, but I think there's an identity there, and I can't wait to see it grow. I hope Hansi Flick continues to make progress with the squad, and I've really liked his mannerisms on the touchline as well. I just think it's been great. It's been positive, and I just think he backs his team. I think he has a lot of trust in the players that he puts out on the field. And to start 3 17-year-olds in back-to-back games in La Liga, that's a good sign because he trusts the academy. But of course, there's so much talent there as well. And of course, with the players coming back from injury, I think there's going to be a good mix of players with some experience and also with a lot of promise. I'm just so excited. Honestly, this season, I know with the way that Xavi left, it wasn't great. But Hansi Flick, I just think he's brought a new energy to the team. And I think we've seen it in these first 2 games. So I hope he continues to progress and do very well. But as always, thank you very much for watching my video, VISCA Barca. I'm so happy and excited to watch Barcelona play this season because that result that they had today and the performance overall was so great. But yeah, as always, thank you very much for watching my video. And just as an announcement, I will not be able to make videos this week because my friends are coming to visit me, and so I just unfortunately won't be able to talk about Barcelona. I'm still going to be watching the games and keeping up with it, of course, but just probably won't be able to make a video. So I apologize for that. But VISCA Barca, as always, I hope you all have a great rest of your weekend, and see you all later. Thank you very much for watching my video. Peace.